Hello, everyone. We are just moments away now from the signing of a historic settlement between the City of Seattle and 3 Skagit County tribes. Thanks for being with us. I'm Joyce Taylor. The signing ceremony marking the culmination of negotiations in which the City of Seattle agreed to spend an estimated $4 billion over the next 50 years on the Skagit Hydroelectric Project. This project's 3 dams along the Skagit River supply about 20% of Seattle's electricity. Included in this agreement, Seattle will pay nearly $1 billion to build fish passage around the dams. Prior to this deal coming together, Seattle City Light insisted its hydroelectric dams were not harming salmon. A years-long investigation by King 5 exposed experts from across the Northwest found that science to be flawed. Now the city will begin connecting miles of salmon habitat around the Ross, Diablo, and Gorge dams. Let's go to City Hall, where the Mayor, Katie Wilson, is expected to sign this agreement alongside tribal leaders and other stakeholders. Let's listen in.
Thank you, Seattle. You're named after us, you know. Except for the spelling, you're a little off. For the past 7 years, we've basically been locked in rooms with the City Light staff. And I think that's helped our relationship between the tribes and the city that you're named after. Through that process, we were able to share information, share our skills. I think Mr. Townsend will agree that not to put words in your mouth, Chris, but I think you were impressed with the capabilities of our tribal staff, something that's been long overlooked and which we felt excluded from for a long time. So we really appreciate that, Madam Mayor, for exposing us to your staff, because this is the last step of it, but it was that process that built the relationship of trust that now exists between us. We were able to share our stories with you, our concerns, and the city's concerns about being able to accommodate both our interests, because we both share this region and we can bring a lot to you. Tribes like us, especially the Sauk-Suatal Mayor, call upon us for advice, because for many years we've learned how to keep operating with very little money and very little budget to do what we need to do. So call upon us. We can share with you that information about how to house your people, things like that. So that's all I have. Thank you for attending, and thank the federal people that are all here. They played a very important role for this in bringing us to an agreement, although at the end, every month when we met, there was 1 or 2 less seats over time. So appreciate it. Thank you for letting me speak, and thank you on behalf of the Sauk-Suatal tribe.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Steve Edwards, and I'm the chairman of the Swinomish tribe. Mayor Wilson, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to you and your staff. It's been a journey to get to this day. It's taken us over 7 years, and it may have seemed like a long time, but in all reality, it's a short period of time. Because there's a future in the Skagit River that will last for many, many generations. Salmon is important to our people. It's part of our culture, it's part of our traditions. It's our identity. So the 7 years of work that we put into this is going to last for many, many, many generations. That's the way I look at it. And I know that's the way my people look at it, our leaders. That's the way they look at it. So the 7 years we put into it was just a small piece of what we dedicated our time to. And I want to thank our staff, thank our leaders, my leadership, for allowing me to be, and my team to be a part of this negotiation team. They trusted us. And I want to thank the state and federal officials, the tribal leaders, everyone that we sat at the table with. We've learned a lot from each other. We built a relationship. There were good days and there were bad days, but that's what it takes. We have the same goal. We have different ideas. We got there. And we're here today for a very, very special occasion to witness this signing, this agreement. And, you know, it's, it's really exciting to know for me personally that my people, our people, will be able to harvest salmon in the future. When we first started these meetings, I said, you know, we have to come up with a plan, an agreement. I don't want my kids' generation, my grandkids, to read about salmon. I want them to be able to go out there and harvest salmon. I don't want this just to be in a storybook. I want them physically to be able to touch a salmon, to harvest it themselves. And I want many generations to be able to do the same, have that same opportunity that I've had. You know, I've fished for over 50 years, and it's been great. A lot of you may never know what it's like to be a fisherman, but I tell you what, it's healing. It's healing to our people. You wouldn't understand it, but it really heals our body, heals our soul. Every week we feed salmon to our elders. Every Wednesday, our elders get salmon. That's how important it is to us. Keeping it alive, nourishing our elders' bodies. That's what this is about. I don't want to benefit from it today, but I definitely want my future generations to benefit what is going to take place moving forward. And I hope it doesn't stop here. I hope these relationships continue to build, because this license is for 50 years, and we have to keep that relationship. We need to continue to have a seat at the table, voice our opinions, share our thoughts, work together, be team players. That's what it's going to take. Not just with Seattle. I see some of our county officials here, and we live in Skagit County. We all have to work together. It's going to take all of us. So I thank you for this day again, Mayor. Thank you and your team for working with us, and I thank our tribal leaders as well And once again, the state and federal officials for all your hard work. And those that are even, I know we have some team members that aren't here today. I want to thank those that I had the opportunity to work with throughout those 7 years as well. It's not just us. There are some that aren't at the table today that made a difference as well, and their voices were well heard. So I want to thank them as well. So thank you all.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Schuyler. I'm a tribal member for the Upper Skagit. I also am the cultural and policy representative for natural resources. Today is a day of reflection for the Upper Skagit people, and a day to give thanks also to. Reflection on the journey that it took us to get to this point that brought us right here at City Hall with the mayor's office, the city council. And we do appreciate everything that's occurred over the last 8 years. But this journey actually began 124 years ago for the Upper Skagit, when we were not allowed a voice or a choice when the first dam was built. We see redemption today by signing this agreement. We do have that voice from now on. And so our hands go up to all the LPs, and there's too many people, too many faces that I've seen the last 8 years to just thank everybody, but know that you are appreciated by the tribe, state, federal, the NGOs, all the folks that were at the table, the tribes, to get us to where we are today. Today is not the day to celebrate for the Upper Skagit. The celebration will come in the future. When we see the river return to its banks, the Upper Skagit people will rejoice and celebrate. When we see the first salmon pass over the dams and the dams start contributing to these depressed runs, then the Upper Skagit will celebrate. And most of all, the Upper Skagit people will celebrate when we return to our home, to Wallab. Thank the mayor, thank the city for building us our meeting center, a place to gather for our folks. And it'll be the staging area, we think, ground zero for this passage, which is going to take a lot of our time and collective effort to make happen. There's a lot of work for us to all collectively do. But again, on behalf of the Upper Skagit, Haishka, thank you for everything. And most of all, I have to thank the biggest support team that I have, and that is my lovely wife. She's been there throughout this process. So thank you, Lene, for everything. Thank you.
Thank you and good afternoon. My name is Kate Wells with NOAA Fisheries. I am the Assistant Regional Administrator for the Oregon-Washington Coastal Office out of our Portland office there. And we've prepared some remarks on behalf of the entire federal family that participated in the settlement agreement. Mayor Wilson, on behalf of the federal agencies who are party to the Skagit Hydroelectric Settlement Agreement, thank you for bringing us here together today to commemorate this historic event. The U.S. Park Service, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the U.S. Forest Service, the National Marine Fisheries Service, all work diligently with the Upper Skagit Indian Tribe, the Swinomish Indian Tribal Community, and the Sauk-Suiattle Indian Tribe, and alongside our state agency partners, Seattle City Light, and other settlement parties to ensure the continued and expanded stewardship of natural, cultural, and recreational resources while supporting hydroelectric power generation for the city of Seattle. This work also reflects the federal government's ongoing trust responsibilities and commitment to working in partnership with the tribes. We recognize the 3 Skagit River tribes as key partners in this settlement process. Their enduring connection to the river and its resources have helped shape the agreement in meaningful ways. Their perspective has been essential in guiding this work, and their involvement continues to strengthen both the process and the outcome. We appreciate their partnership and their continued commitment as this agreement moves forward. The settlement agreement highlights what is possible when stewardship and sustainable power generation move forward together. This agreement represents many years of diligent and highly collaborative work by all settlement parties, the result being a portfolio of commitments that ensure fish passage, habitat restoration and enhancement, continued recreational opportunities, and ongoing studies to support and inform implementation of the agreement. We also want to recognize those who have moved on and those who have been part of this process from the beginning. This has been a long and complex process, and every person involved has played a part in reaching this point. Today marks an important milestone. However, the real measure of success will be in the work ahead. On behalf of the federal agencies, thank you to everyone who helped build this durable agreement. We look forward to continuing the work of implementing it together. Thank you.
I folded this too many times. Good afternoon. My name is Casey Sixkiller. I'm the director of the Washington State Department of Ecology, and I am delighted to be able to be here today. Madam Mayor, thank you so much for the invitation to participate and for being here yourself as well. You know, today is just such an important moment to mark, and I appreciate Scott's perspective of maybe the celebration is a little bit later. But this is an important moment to mark and to really lift up. I think when folks started off on this journey several years ago, I'm not sure that everybody thought that we would reach this point. And just to underscore something that Chairman Edwards said, it took a lot for folks to find a way to come together and stay together through this process. And there are a lot of people that are speaking today, and there's a lot of folks in this room, and I'm sure are joining us remotely as well. Too many to name, but everybody contributed to this effort. I had a chance to be part of it several years ago when I served as deputy mayor in Mayor Durkin's administration. And at that time, you know, Scott was one of the first meetings I had, and he really challenged us to think differently about this license, to think differently about the process that we were going to use as a city family to go through the relicensing process. And I'm really thankful to Scott and to the tribal leaders for issuing that challenge and holding us accountable. So this license is an opportunity to be better. And it's, I think, a really important reminder of the things that we can accomplish when we work together, when we collaborate, and we really strive to see a future that we're all part of. That is something worth celebrating. And then, of course, there's the details of the agreement itself, right? Improves fish habitat, improves the ecosystem, and improves reduction in flood risk, or contributes to reduction in flood risk, strengthens the overall health of the Skagit River, and importantly, preserves a critical source of renewable energy at a time when those demands on that energy is increasing. This is, as I said, a generational agreement that strikes a balance between the needs of fish, the environment, flood protection, and our state's clean energy future. Many years from today, our kids, our grandkids will benefit from the collaboration and the partnership that folks are celebrating today. So thank you very much to the mayor. Thank you to our tribal leaders, our federal and state partners. The work continues, and again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
Good afternoon. My name is Brendan Brooks, and I'm the North Puget Sound Regional Director for the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. And our director, Director Kelly Sussman, was supposed to be here today and was not able to make it, so I think you're stuck with me. I also have some remarks prepared that we had for the director that I just found out I was doing this on the way down here, so you got to bear with me. But first of all, thank you very much, Mayor. I'd like to thank Mayor and the Seattle City Council members and City Light for inviting us to join you today in this historic signing ceremony. For decades, WDFW has worked alongside tribal co-managers and partner organizations to restore habitat and recover salmon in the Skagit River watershed while supporting sustainable fisheries and local communities. We also operate the Marble Mount Hatchery on the Cascade River, as well as managing state wildlife areas and water access sites that connect people to the Skagit, from anglers and bird watchers to boaters and paddlers. Over the last 7 years, our technical experts on fish, wildlife, and habitat work closely with City Light, other state and federal agencies, and the Skagit Treaty Tribes to reach agreement on this relicensing plan. We appreciate everyone's hard work during these discussions. The agreement is a significant progress for a healthy Skagit River ecosystem. It is a positive outcome for fish passage, habitat restoration, and the people from the Skagit Valley to the city of Seattle. Fish passage and habitat restoration expect to contribute to salmon recovery, outdoor recreation, and increased sustainable harvest for recreational anglers and treaty tribal fishers for generations to come. We're ready to roll up our sleeves and get to work what comes next, collaborating to implement this agreement, bringing salmon back to the upper Skagit watershed and flows, and restoring habitat for fish and wildlife. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ron Weeson, a Skagit County Commissioner. I really appreciate the chance we have to come down here and help sign this agreement. I really thank the mayor for all the work she's done, all the different people involved, state, federal, and local representatives have been involved in the 7-year process. Skagit County is at the bottom of the Skagit River, so we are the area that needs to be protected from flood, and so that's very, very important to us. The fish passage, that's very important to us in the county also. We love to have fish in our streams. We appreciate what the tribes have done to come together and have this project come to a conclusion. We want to work in our estuary area to have the right size, right selective program to have a good estuary project come together. And we've made some pretty good steps going forward to that. So we want to make sure we can help make the fish come back. So all of us in Skagit County and our local treaty tribes can enjoy it, and so the local citizens of the county. But once again, thank you for being here. I appreciate the time that took to get here, and as there was conflict in the discussion, but now we're going to come together today to work to make it better for the whole community in the future. So once again, thank you for being here.
So my name's Thomas O'Keefe, and I'm the Senior Director of Policy and Science for American Whitewater, and I've been involved in literally dozens of hydropower licensing proceedings across the country over the past 30 years. Now, hydropower projects like the Skagit, they alter sediment movement, water temperature, they fragment habitat, they change recreational use, and they disrupt the cultural character of rivers. For river communities, they impact livelihoods, cultural practices, and long-term ecosystem recovery. In the case of the Skagit, I think it's important to consider for those of us living in this community, and I happen to be a resident here in Seattle and a ratepayer, that over the last century, great wealth has been extracted from this river that's benefited this community. And I think it's really important to reflect on, for whose benefit and what expense has that come. Hydropower licensing under the Federal Power Act provides an opportunity to reassess projects under modern science, updated environmental standards, and current priorities from a community, social, and social justice perspective. These proceedings determine how a project will operate for another 30 to 50 years and under what conditions. Now, I personally have been involved in dozens of regulatory proceedings over the years, and I can't think of one that's been as complex and had as many people involved as this one. I mean, hands down. And I think that really speaks to how many people, how many communities really care about the Skagit River. The agreement, the settlement agreement that we've crafted, it does not address every issue, but it's a good outcome and it provides the framework for continued collaboration and coordination. And I appreciate, how Chris spoke about this as a groundbreaking, and also Scott, where this really is the start of a endeavor to make significant and meaningful improvements to this river. I just want to close with two big thank yous. First is just to Seattle City Light and the leadership of Seattle City Light. I can remember a pivotal phone call early in the process where my counsel was sought out, and my advice was, just continuing to write op-eds back and forth in the paper isn't going to do it here. We need to sit down and communicate directly, leadership to leadership, and maybe not follow, everything that the, some of the consultants were saying, and really uphold the values of this utility and this community. And I feel like that was really taken to heart. And then I also really want to thank tribal partners and the tribal governments who are engaged in this process, who were unwavering in being a voice for the river, and how critical that was, and their willingness to hold the mirror up and ask the tough questions of this community and all of us who live here and benefit from this project. So thank you all for your leadership.
Good afternoon. I'm Rob Santoff, Interim General Manager and CEO at Seattle City Light. I want to thank you all for being here today to mark this important milestone. This agreement represents years of dedicated hard work, partnership, and persistence. It reflects a shared commitment among tribes, agencies, local governments, and community partners to steward the Skagit River watershed responsibly and collaboratively into the future. As someone new to this role, I did want to take a moment to recognize the depth of effort that brought us here today. This is a result of trust built over time, of difficult conversations handled with respect, and of collective willingness to find a better path forward together. I'm honored to be stepping into this moment, and even more honored to carry the work forward. I'd especially like to recognize Chris Townsend, who has led this effort for many years with extraordinary dedication, and whose leadership has been instrumental into bringing us to today. With that, I'll turn it over to Chris to share more about the journey behind this agreement and what it means for us to move forward together.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Chris Townsend. I'm the Director of Natural Resources and Hydro Licensing at City Light. I started 8 years ago on this project, and it's about almost the only thing I've done since then, in addition to the rest of my job. It's also hard to be one of the final speakers in a line as important as this one, because all I can do is echo what everyone else has already said. Tom O'Keefe, in particular, stole some of my speaking points, and so you'll hear them echoed here. But just to touch on the long path that this has been. Again, over 8 years ago, we started selecting a process and the studies to support the negotiations. So that's when we started. And from almost the beginning, we've had almost 20 organizations represented in in-room discussions with 40 to 60 people. And that was a heroic effort that was kept on track by our consultants at Triangle and Associates efforts and everybody's willingness to figure out how to engage in such a long and difficult negotiation together productively. So it was really, really complex, difficult task. And the most important thing that came out of that is not the document in the white binder you see sitting on the table, which is the entirety of the agreement that we've negotiated over the 8 years, but it's the relationships that we've developed and the friendships and the trust. And these folks are representing some of the key parties that participated, but all of you know who you are and the role that you've played in getting us to this point. And I thank each and every one of you, and I'm grateful for your trust and your friendship that we've developed over the past, and I'll need to be relying on that as we go into implementation for the future. The Skagit River is one of the great river systems of the Pacific Northwest and perhaps the whole country. It's a wild and beautiful river to the untrained eye, but to tribes and others who know that the upper headwaters of the river are dammed by our hydroelectric projects, we know there's nuance to that. And as Tom said earlier in his speech, the City of Seattle has extracted a great deal of value from the Skagit River over the past 100+ years. And it is time, and it's my honor to be helping Seattle figure out how to return that value to the tribes and the communities in the Skagit Valley that depend and have always, and for 10,000 years, depended on the Skagit River. So it's been an honor to help craft that negotiation and get us to the point we're at today. This is not the end of a process, it's really the beginning. It's the beginning of implementing everything in that document, and I really look forward to doing that. We're already kind of out of the gate ready to start implementing fish passage and estuary restoration and the innovative ecosystem monitoring and adaptive management programs that we've all agreed is important for the future of the Skagit River. So our next steps are to get the license from FERC, and it's going to take our relationships to make sure that FERC understands why we agreed to what we did here and to get our license and then to move forward with license implementation. So again, thank you to everybody here. Thank you to all of you who've spoken about the project, and thank you, Mayor Wilson, for being here today. And I invite you to say a few words. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chris, and welcome everyone. I'm very, very delighted to be here with all of you this afternoon. Seattle is a city that depends on public power, and we also believe deeply in environmental responsibility and public accountability. The Skagit project shows that those goals can and must move together. This project is a cornerstone of the city's clean, renewable energy portfolio. Seattle's facing unprecedented demand for new energy, and it is essential to keep existing sources of this energy available. And the agreement that we are here today to sign shows us that we can do this. We can continue to produce clean, carbon-free energy while also safeguarding cultural and natural resources. Reliable energy, healthy ecosystems, cultural preservation, and tribal sovereignty are all connected. We've heard from a lot of voices today, and I want to acknowledge the many people behind those voices who have helped to carry this process forward over many years, including state and federal agencies, community organizations, advocates, and our partners at the Seattle City Council, many of whom have been supporting this effort for years, and the Seattle City Light team of staff and consultants who devoted enormous time and expertise to the negotiations. Also want to recognize our City Attorney's Office. I see City Attorney Evans over there, and I know that Skagit County is in the house too. So many hands have gone into this work. But most of all, I want to thank our tribal partners for their leadership and continuing to push this process towards something better and more durable. I want to recognize the leadership of the Swinomish Indian tribal community, the Sauk-Seattle Indian tribe, and the Upper Skagit Indian tribe. Today would not be possible without your leadership, your persistence, and your willingness to stay engaged through years of difficult and complicated negotiations. This agreement reflects years of work, relationship building, and government-to-government collaboration. And I think it is important to say clearly that the tribes were not simply participants in this process. They helped to shape the path forward. Their leadership, expertise, and advocacy are deeply reflected in what is being signed today. The Skagit Hydroelectric Project has powered Seattle for generations. These dams provide about 20% of our city's electricity and have played a major role in Seattle's growth and innovation. Seattle's development has then gone on to shape the world. But we also have to be honest about the history that is connected to that development. The Treaty of Point Elliott fundamentally reshaped this region and forcibly displaced tribal communities from their lands. The construction and operation of these dams has real and lasting impacts on tribal communities, cultures, and natural resources. Those impacts are not just historical footnotes. They continue to matter today, and that's part of why this moment matters. Today's agreement is not about closing a chapter and moving on. It's about committing to a different kind of relationship going forward, one grounded in respect, accountability, stewardship, and continued partnership. And I think that this agreement reflects something important. Long-term stewardship is strongest when tribal nations are not treated just as stakeholders on the sidelines, but are recognized as sovereign governments and essential partners in shaping the future of our region. Finally, I want to emphasize that the City of Seattle understands the importance of agriculture to the economy and way of life in the Skagit Valley. We also know that estuary habitat is vital to the recovery of all species of salmon. So we pledge to work with local government, the tribes, and other partners to identify restoration projects that are consistent with local plans and priorities that will make a significant contribution to salmon recovery and have the least impact on the agricultural economy as possible. The city is committed to implementing this agreement in good faith and continuing this work through transparent communication, listening, and collaboration. Because ultimately, this is about more than infrastructure or licensing. It's about the kinds of relationships that we choose to build with each other and the kind of future that we want to create. So thank you all for being here, and I'm honored to join you today as we sign this agreement together. Okay, we're doing it? Okay.
I'm going to stand and watch.
It's the 12th, huh? Is that it?
Okay, great. They're signed. We're done.